So we were saying Uncle Roger had graduated from Durham, Uncle Brandon had graduated from Liverpool, and Aunt Margaret graduated from nursing school. So it wasn't their first graduate or anything. No.
So that's
Well, I knew Cambridge is
Pardon? Cambridge, was it a big deal that you went to Cambridge though?
yeah. That's Margot, my mother, and me. Looking out to sea.
And again, the whales. Now, who would have been taking the photos? Do you know these photos?
Oh, the French ones would have been taken by the graduate student Rob. Rob, who later on went to teach history at Queen's University, Belfast. So here,
1955.
this is the van my father had at that time. He's
Right.
reading the book, I think. Dad, Margot, Jeremy, Jill, in parentheses, half pint Pritchard. Because the Jill is half a pint.
Oh,
So
okay.
we call it a half pint.
Why Pritchard?
She's a very close friend of Margot.
That's her name.
Oh,
Pritchard.
so Jill, not Aunt Jillian. Jill,
Right,
as in
right,
so
right, yeah.
Jill Pritchard,
Yeah.
half pint. Huh.
Right.
Interesting. And where is this then? Is this
that was
Anglesey? It says
in front of the
1955
cottage,
in front of the cottage.
Here's one. I would never guess this was taken in Keswick. We rented. This was not a family thing. This was a church thing. And we rented. And Keswick lasted, I think, a week. I don't know what I was doing there, but
Was it a church
we
camp?
had rented. No, not a church camp. Keswick is a sort of an institution in England.
Oh, okay.
The best known summer Bible camp.
Okay.
So I don't know what I was looking for there. It might have been that we rented, some of us rented a rowboat and got stuck at some point. And I got out of the boat to help move it.
Interesting. So,
We're Covenanters. That's a teenage Bible club. That's me, of course, with my Bible. And that is the very good ping pong player, Jeff Woodward. Don Booth. And that one. And Covenanter table tennis and Bible reading winners. I said, yeah. You had competitions.
so what did you win?
Every year I would win the regional competition for Bible reading, and the regional winners always went to London later on.
Wow.
And I was the only, excuse me, no. Brandon and myself were the only ones who won the regionals. But in addition, Brandon was the only one to win the whole thing in London.
Wow. So,
And I can tell you what passage you had to read. 1 Kings 18.
so was it on the strength of your reading skill or
Yeah.
your memorization or?
No, reading skill.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So it's the effect of your reading, or so it's almost like an oratory competition.
A bit. And they graded you for accuracy, expression, and so on.
So,
Margot.
Dad's, your grandfather Jackson had trained himself to speak posh, but his delivery, for instance, if he were called upon to read the lesson at church, was excellent, excellent. So that was
Margot.
a sort of family talent to be able to do that.
Can I have a little water?
This is Stephen Lane Smith. It's about 10 months old.
Right, and that previous
He
picture
was
was Margot, it said.
my first godchild. Godson.
Oh, sorry.
In a perambulator.
I think you should.
Yeah,
a
you'd
break.
Well, we're nearly finished, I think. This is
Aunt Margot
Joel in Switzerland.
had, Dad was saying, told us that Aunt Margot was saying that
Jillian, you mean?
no, sorry. You were telling Mom that Aunt Margot, wasn't it you, that Aunt Margot came home to have all her babies in England. So they're missionaries in Africa, right?
Yeah. Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. So she would come. So Stephen, you were when he was born, were you still in England, Dad? When Stephen was born? Yeah, 1961. He was 10 months old.
It depends on the year. When we were in Africa, we'd be in England.
Yeah.
That's the man of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The ladies
Or
are on the
just
bottom, but
ladies on the bottom.
I think, yeah, this is the first one I've seen with Deborah included because most of the photos,
before.
she's not born yet.
Yeah.
What was the age difference between Uncle John and Aunt Deborah?
43 to 48.
So 5 years
5 years
They lost a child
in between.
in between.
whose name was Carol. Mm-hmm. And they always remembered her. She was full term. She was called a blue baby
Aunt Margot
because
in her
she just
nursing
lived
uniform.
24 hours. Or
And
12.
did they know why?
Heart.
To Jeremy with love, Gillian.
So is that a picture of Jillian?
Gillian, yeah.
Sorry.
There's another one in
Anglesey?
Anglesey or Talaka.
It's just Talaka, yeah. So Anglesey was where your aunties lived and Talaka was where you rented the cottage, is that right?
Yeah.
Is this truly Jill?
This is Steve,
Or just
Stephen.
Paul Stephen? Paul Stephen?
And we've never known him except as
His real name is Paul Stephen? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Bet John doesn't have that. We should scan it in.
Encounters on U Barrow. John. Where's he wearing it? Let's see the back. The back.
August
August
1961. John, aged 18 and a half. So he must have been with the youth group.
Yeah. Must have been. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a scene. Maybe Swiss. With the Swiss ones.
This is Deborah at Dinas Bay. That's Anglesey.
Oh, right.
Deborah. Yeah, that's right. We used to sit in the sun against the rocks and get baked.
With no sunscreen? Did you get red?
Red, yeah. Because it often rained too, so. There's a stream that came down the valley and broke up the rocks down here, creating sort of ovens. We call it the oven.
So was that Dinas Bay again? Well, that was Anglesey, but that was where you rented the cottage.
Yeah.
Not.
Well, there are two places where we rented. One was there, Dinas Bay,
Okay.
actually by the sea, and the other one was the little rock cottage up about half a mile up
Yeah.
the hill.
But Anglesey is a whole island, isn't it?
The whole,
It's a self-contained island. Do you want some?
No, I was just looking. Never mind, keep on.
Oh, this is Mom and Dad, 62. Wow. My father looking dignified. My mother looking smart.
Yeah. It's a nice photograph.
Yeah.
They were telling me, Dad, that they would call each other affectionately.
Yeah.
I'm getting this on tape, but not publicly. Your father was called by your mother Georgie Ferry, even though his name was Herbert, and your father called your mother
Miggy Wee.
Miggy Wee, and her name was Millicent.
Millicent
Yeah.
Jackson. I don't know what that is.
No, we'd have to.
Stephen, Andrew and Mark Lane Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Mark. That's Stephen. That's Andrew.
Andrew, you can tell.
Yeah.
They look like that still today.
Yeah.
It's funny. 1966.
Oh, and here is Brandon and Mary wedding, September 58.
Oh, that's nice. And she came from a very wealthy family, right? And
a wealthy family.
and
they owned
the father was not happy about the match, correct? Or her family wasn't happy about the match?
I don't
I
recall.
thought. I think he told me that.
Oh, well, I'm sure he knew. Now, this is a very interesting photograph. Fred Cartwright, after whom I'm called Fred. That's
Right.
Fred Cartwright.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dog was called Jip, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Cartwright. And I've written on the back to remind me of an anecdote about Fred.
Mm-hmm.
With, the boys in the neighbourhood we were playing in the air raid shelter at the back of our house, which is on Ashmore Avenue, and the Scots were profane in terms of the language. They weren't churchgoers, and neither was Fred Cartwright for that matter. But Fred had come out with a coal bucket to fill it with coal to replenish the fire in the living room. And he overheard Drip Scott, Drip was his nickname, swearing, and he immediately said, "Hey, Drip Scott, don't let me hear you swearing, you little bugger."
Was he a child, Drip Scott? Or was he?
No,
He was a man.
No, not a man.
Okay.
He probably mostly teenager. Where's he? Oh,
Right.
this. No, about this. This is at Cheadle Recreation Ground, by the bowling green. Fred Cartwright liked to bowl. With my mother's cousin, question mark, Haig. Her mother standing. The Haigs were my mother's side of the family. And they lived near the church where we went to St Cuthbert's Church. And his either her husband or either her husband or her husband worked for the post office, and through him we used to get some Christmas jobs.
Oh, that's right. You
delivering.
told me they delivered mail on Christmas Day,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
astounding to me.
Yeah.
So they would hire you temporarily just to do it on.
No, for the season. There's a specified season.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now Fred Cartwright, we've heard a lot about because of course you were nicknamed Fred. Your siblings still call you Fred. So no one in your family calls you Jeremy. because of this man who you can see
Fred Cartwright,
um,
our next door
in the
neighbour.
next photo very well.
And here's another one
So
with Jip.
with Jip, like you said, that was his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, at the Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So he had taken a real shine to you because he didn't, remind me, he didn't have a son, he had a daughter?
He just had a daughter,
Right,
Mary.
right.
She married Swain, otherwise referred to as Bernie Old Boy, and the poacher outfit. This is a cottage. We've referred to many times, but it's not shown. So the Lanesmiths boy
Oh, at the
must have
cottage,
been
okay.
renting the cottage for a week at that time.
Yeah. Oh, actually that's Tim, Robbie, and Sarah Jackson.
Actually, yeah, I just realised. Yes, it's
Yeah.
Tim. Yeah.
So that's the Jackson, Brandon, and Mary's 3
Mary's.
children.
Right. That's a good shot of Uncle Roger. Very good shot.
It says Anglesey, yep.
Yeah.
Is that the rock formation behind
Yeah.
him of that same area?
Right, it's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
The bake, whatever you call it,
The
the oven.
And that's my parents with. So
That's
Stephen.
Tim, I think.
Tim, yeah.
Yep, I can recognize Tim. It looks like it's Lanesmith and looks like Tim, maybe Stephen. Could it be Mark and Andrew? Or would Robert have, does it say on the back? 4 grandsons, Timothy, Mark, Stephen, and Robert. That's a great photo. September 1962. They look so, your parents are laughing so hard, Dad. It seemed like they had a lot of joy together,
Yeah.
your parents.
Yeah.
Although you said until your father came to Christ, he had more of a temper, right?
And here's a very nice one of my parents, September 62.
Yeah, I can see Jillian so much from your mother.
And here's one of Brandon being mischievous. That's the boy.
Yep.
John, I mean that's me, Brandon and Roger.
John doesn't look
John.
like he's best pleased by that. You can see Uncle Brandon's is swatting him with a newspaper or something.
And this is a tree here that my father was in when he fell and died.
In Circular Drive.
Yeah. This is where Julian and I used to play catches, throwing tennis balls to each other.
How old were you when you moved to this address?
Oh, this is September 62, and we moved originally in, let's see, 62,
Do you remember how old you were? You weren't in Cambridge yet, were you?
no.
But-
I went to Cambridge in September 62.
If you're born in 39, when you're 18, so
45.
58.
I think I was a teenager.
So this is the tree
Yeah.
in the background.
Right.
Your dad would have fallen from. They're never sure if it was a heart attack or whether.
It was fractured his breastbone, chest bone.
Because it must have been several feet up he fell from.
Oh yeah, it was about. I think it was the first basic unit of a ladder, which
Yeah, it was at the top of it,
two extensions.
right? It's quite a distance.
It was a hard event, and your grandmother, Mima, struggled with that. It was someone who was complaining about that branch all the time.
Oh.
And so he decided that he had to do something about it.
Right.
And so there was that neighbor who was involved. And then Mima and my dad prayed before he ascended to cut the branch. So that he'd be okay, safe, get it done. And then this happened. And then another neighbor who was a believer said to Jeremy's mom, his soul went up and his body fell to earth. And that helped. Helped your mother to deal with that. It was a very hard loss.
Yeah, we're looking forward. He retired recently, so he had less than a year before he died. That's one to
But he'd
remember.
done a lot of clearing out because he was a bit of a clutter bug.
Oh. So this is Uncle Roger and Aunt Mary, 1962. This is Uncle Brandon and Aunt Mary with their 3 children, Timothy, Robert, and Sarah. 64. This is 1962. Brandon, Mary, with Robert and the other Aunt Mary in the corner. Mary, known as Mary 2, right? Because she married Uncle Roger after.
Right. Or Mary Pomeroy.
Oh, no.
That usually is Mary Pomeroy.
Mary Pomeroy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Miranda got
all right,
very
we'll take a
quiet.
break. Have some coffee.
You got what?